Alright, good morning all. We are back to the Python development with NextJs React, and today we want to start the front-end development with React library. The first thing we need to understand here is that we need some configurations before we start the application. I forgot that of course we need to talk about installation. You need to install Node for you to be able to do what we're talking about. Tools needed, for example, tools we need are one, we need the IDEs for the development, and we are going to be using what do you call code, VS Code, right? We'll be using VS Code for our development, and of course we need code editor, right? Code editor. We need of course the Python, even though I'm talking about the front end, so I'm not going to mention Python here. So we need code editor, and then in the code editor we need to install the React library or libraries that will enable us to do the development. And we're going to mention all the libraries needed. Before this, we need we need also kind of some knowledge on how we create the directories while we are in the code editor. Or as a developer, it might not be easier for you to be is this okay? It seems it's too dark, right? Is it visible by you? It's okay? Yes. Alright, then let me close the folder. Alright, the folder is closed. So as it is, I haven't created any folder. You're not seeing, right?
I see.
Eh?
I see.
You are seeing? Alright. So I think let me start something here. We can do everything from the code editor, but let me start by creating one folder here. This folder is going to serve as a container for our project. Then we'll create the project folder inside it. Okay, so let's say Python, let me just say Python Flask, right? Python Flask web. Python Flask for web development. Python Flask NextJs, right? NextJs 2023. This is the folder I created. Okay, I can do that while in the code editor. So here I am trying now to open the folder here. and opening the folder is something like this. Just go and browse it. I think this is it, right? Python flags. And so as it is here, folder is being opened, right? This is it. Python flags for web dev. Python flags NextJs 2023. So now let's start. For you to start, you go to the menu and invoke this new terminal. What? New terminal. You'll be writing commands through terminals. The installation is online. It's not like getting set up and then no. It's either you click on this or you press Control Shift and backtick. You know backtick? Yes, backtick. So you click and then terminal gets opened here. Okay, let me do away with this. Are we seeing this? This is where we are going to be writing our commands. So I want to create a folder here. I now say make what? Directory. First of all, before making any directory, if I say dir, I want to see the directory. Nothing is inside, right? But when I say make what? Directory, make directory, then the directory name. Directory means folder. Let's say this is let me just say Castle enrollment, for example. Castle let's say stud. Yeah, let's say stud. No. Let's say okay, stud reg. Do you have any suggestion? Okay. Let's say stud portal, for example, right? Then is okay. Student portal, for example, as a what? As a project. So you see now, can you see student portal is created here? All right. So even without checking, when I say directory, it has, when you create something, it will run directory for you. Can you see we have only one what? One directory. But then here, which directory am I into? I'm in this directory that is created. I'm not inside this directory. For me to move, to shift from my directory, my current directory, to the directory I have created, you now put in cd. Cd means change. Stud portal. cd means change. I'm changing. Can you see? I've changed to where? Stud portal. Then when I say directory, nothing is there. I can say clear. And I clear everything. Are we there? You need to understand these simple things. I think I should give you kind of documentation that talks about these simple commands for interactions with directories, files, and all this. It's those prompt things and all this. So now if I want to go back to the directory, I can now say cd backslash. cd backslash takes me to the root directory, and the root directory over here is what? D. But when I say cd dot, it will be taking me one directory after another directory. So let's try the first one. You see, it took me back to, when I say CLS, it's same thing as clear. Sorry, I made a mistake. CLS. So how do I now go back to my directory? The directory I've created. When I say dir here, I have a lot of files and folders and all this. Then you can introduce something. You can say dir and immediately you say everything, but then those things that end with what? 2020, because I have 2023 in my something. All right, I'm giving it kind of something. So we have only directories and files that are having what? 2023 attached to them. These are the only things we are having, and then I have Python. If you don't want to do that, you can as well do. I think you need to have this something. You can say directory, and then you now give it something. It means anything. This is a placeholder, and then you can say Python, because you have Python in your what. I can just say Python. Okay. Okay, ends with, all right, end with, I'm not right here, end with Python starts, the folder start with the name Python, isn't it? So now directory, py, and anything that comes after it. So look at it. These are simple ways of interacting with commands and all these things. Actually, for a professional, if you want to do something somewhere that it's risky for you to open your project folder while people are looking into what you're doing, it's better you go to the black screen, the shell, and do your work. Nobody knows what it is. And then, I don't know whether you are getting it. So now, back to this now. I want to copy, I want to CD into this. I'm not into it. Okay, then, what is inside it? It's stud portal. I want to CD into stud portal, CD, then stud portal. Now, if you go by picking CD dot dot, it will be taking you back to the towards the root directory, one folder at a time. Now it will kill one folder, which is what, so that it's killing it, but it will change from the current folder to the previous immediate folder one step. Then if you say CD dot dot again, it will do same one step. So these are very simple things. Actually, it's not supposed to be part of what we'll be discussing here, but as a beginner, we need to do that, so we carry all along, right? So I can now be calling my commands using previous commands using the up down, top down arrow keys and left right. So I think now back to the main thing. Let me confirm that I'm connected, because this installation has to do with internet. Good. So now if you want to start React framework for the web, which is this, we want to start the front-end development. If you want to start that, this is the command you write. Please don't write command that is not like this. If you want to start your NextJS, we're going to be using React. Of course, when we come to integrate Python, we have to do some virtualizations and all these kind of installations before we start this one. But this, I want us to perfect it first. So the first thing you do is to copy this. You can write it yourself. npx create next app separated by something. All right, separated by what, dashes, then at letters. This is what you do. Then you paste it in your directory here. But then you can do one thing here. It's either you change into your directory, which is the stud portal, and do this. Then it will put everything inside the directory. Or when you change into the directory, immediately after that you put dot. It will put inside the current directory all the commands, whatever. Or you write as it is. I've written the command. Then you now introduce the name of the directory you want it to create the project into. Stud portal, for example. There should be R, right? Stud portal, right? Then you press enter. Then the system start creating NextJS project for you. Of course, our installations is going to be two, because we are not going to be using JS for the development. We only use it for the front end, and then the back end for the Python something. So it will be two ways. After this, we're going to do that of Python, and Python, there has to be virtualizations of our virtualizations. This is just kind of group of libraries which we're going to be using and all this. We'll discuss it. So here I'm being asked a question. Would you like to use TypeScript? If you say yes, then it will introduce TypeScript for you. But I don't think if you need TypeScript here, or just say no. Then it's asking you if you want to be using ESLint. Yeah, we need ESLint. Then Tailwind CSS. Yes, we need it. Then source SRC folder. We don't need this SRC folder, I think. Then app router. It's recommended. You can use your arrow keys to select between. Then this alias, we don't need it. So it will start installing your application, your project. You know, formerly our folder was blank. When you open, can you see it has pushed some files for us? And these files, we are going to be using them for our development. The most important file here is the package.json. This package.json is the most important one among them, because it stores the libraries, the complete libraries needed for our development. All dependencies have been actually stated here. For now, no any dependency was being installed here, but with time you will begin to see dependencies. Please, before the installation finishes, let us have kind of tour on these package.json. It is the name of the project is Tut Portal as it is, and then the version is 0.10. The version is being written by the IDE itself. Now look at something here. Script. The scripts we are having are, we have dev, right? And the dev is having NextDev, and we have build, and the build is having next what? Next build, and we have start, and it's having next start, and we have linked, and it's having next linked. While you are developing your application, you are expected to be using the next npm run dev. This is what you'll be writing. npm run dev. You use this command for what? For running your application. While what? While in the development stage. Not in the production environment. While you are developing, you use it to run your application. npm run what? Dev. But when you are done with the development and you want to host, you want to deploy, alright, it's okay, it has finished. But then let me complete this that I've started. If you want to deploy, you need to minify your codes, and you need to have it optimized, so it will be running fastly. Then you use npm. You use first of all npm build. Then you use npm builds to build the application, and while running you use npm start, right? npm build is used to deploy, or to deploy the app. Use it for minifying it and optimizing the codes. While npm starts is used to start the build the build app. This is used to deploy it for production, right? Is it? And then for running it, you come over here, you run npm start. So can we browse into our project and start some things here? Huh? All right. So please look into this. It tells us that it is done with the what? The installation is over. Can you see? It says using npm. Our system is using npm. Then we're going to use npm. Other systems are using yarn. Yarn, Y-A-R-N. So we use npm to run any kind of something we wanted, any kind of command before you write the command. And then these are the dependencies it was installing when we left it and begin some other things over there. So these are the things it is installing based on the questions we are being asked and our responses. It's integrating these things for us. All right. When we were asked whether we want to use Tailwind CSS, and I say yes. So the Tailwind CSS is going to be used. It's going to be enabled with this post CSS Tailwind and this auto prefixer. They are all for Tailwind CSS. Then the ESLint configuration, and then the Nest itself, and then the React and the React router DOM. React DOM for our navigations and all this. React DOM. So now, if you check the package.json file, you see all the dependencies installed. Can you see them? This doesn't mean that these are not. This doesn't mean that they are the only dependencies you are going to be using in the project. Rather, anytime you need any dependency, by dependency we mean libraries, and libraries, they contain packages, and these packages contain classes, and the classes contain methods, and the method contain variables, constants, and all these things. Is it not? So for any time you want to introduce another library or dependency, then you install it. When you install it, you're going to see it here. So that's why if you clone somebody's project, these dependencies are going to be stored in your system. So if you clone somebody's project, that means the project will not come up with the installed packages. Rather, you open the package.json. After opening the package.json, you look into the dependencies, and then you try to install these dependencies. When you install the dependencies, then the project will get started in your system. Otherwise, it will not. But this one, the reason why they are being installed as this is because we are the initiators of the project. So we have stated that we wanted to use these libraries, dependencies, and then it has installed it for us. So now the next thing is, let's try to run our application. So here the system tells you that it's a success. It's created what? Stud portal at this what? At this path. The path is this: D Python Flask NextJS 2023 as the root folder for our project, and Stud portal as the what? What happened is that it has duplicated the like I think I was in it then, and then I created I was in the library, then I created again. I don't want it like this. It will confuse us actually. Let me delete this and do it again. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. I was in it and then I created, instead of me to just use dot, so I asked it to create another folder. No. Directory, let me see what's there. You see this directory, even though we can correct it somehow, but then let me quickly do something, please. Let me delete this directory. It's asking me question, yes, for all. To delete everything, you see nothing here. Everything will go off. What's this saying? Yes, it has removed it. So let me see what's the content. Okay, it hasn't removed. Okay, let me cd and I will delete it from here. because I've opened it, that's why it doesn't want to do it. Okay, so there, nothing is there. I've deleted. Okay, you know, I was into Stud Portal, and when I wrote the command for so you see, this is the correct thing, but I have not created this. Let me make the directory. Make there. I don't know whether you understand what I'm doing.
Yes.
So then now, you see, I did not change to it, right? This is the folder I am. So I now want to introduce the command that will create, then I will call the name. So it will now push it inside. And then you see only one Stud Portal. Actually, developers are having this kind of something. My thought was that wasn't that into the current directory I'm creating the something. So now ESLint, yes, Tailwind CSS, yes, no for source folder, yes for app router, no for alias. Then it will start installing. So here you see only one Stud Portal. So it doesn't confuse you. Instead of you to see one Stud Portal, then another Stud Portal was created as another folder. You know, the first thing in project, if you're learning a technology newly, you try to understand the folder structure of the project. How are the folders being arranged? Where do I do what? When do I do what? Why? You need to ask yourself, whatever you're doing, you ask yourself. So when I open the package.json, you see it has not started adding the dependencies, but then package.json as it is here is there. So it is trying to install all the packages for us, and then we start the. Actually, for the first time you will be having it somehow, but then it's a very easy something. It's simple. Only that we have to review some things we are going to be using. Mostly the commands we are going to be using for Python and all this. We need to review them. Alright, I think while it is installing, we can visit the Tailwind CSS, right? So we don't waste time. The Tailwind CSS is here. This is the documentation. You just type Tailwind CSS from the Google Chrome or whatever to take you. If you want to go by this tailwindcss.com docs, guides, and for next. Alright, it is done. So can you see the arrangement of the folder now? It's okay, and here you see only Stud Portal, only one Stud Portal. Okay, so this is the correct thing. So now it tells you that no vulnerabilities, but then it's asking you that 131 packages are looking for funding. You know, this kind of donations and all this. That's what they wanted, because it is an open source something. So now to run the application, you write npm run dev. This is what I say. We are under development, so it will run this for you, and then it will run the application. Okay, yes, I haven't changed to the directory. If you see this kind of error command, what it's telling you is that it couldn't find package.json, because inside this 2023 a Python flags NextJs 2023 there is no package. It's only contain, holding our project folder. So if you want to run your application first, you now say cd stud what? You change to the directory Stud Portal. Then you now run npm run dev, and then it will start running your application. Let me do this. Can you see it's telling you that already started server? The server started at port 3000. If you are from Java and other technologies, mostly we use port 8080. But here the port number is the default port number is 3000. If this port number is being used by another application, it will quickly change to the next one +1 port 3001. The next one port. I might be running many servers. I might run this and I might run another application. I might run this application and rerun it somewhere. Alright, so then you hold down your control key and click. So it tries to click, then it will try to do what? It will try to open the app for you in the browser. Okay, I clicked twice. So here it's opening your application. This application contains nothing but what it comes handy from NextJs itself. We haven't started adding anything in it. So this is what you see. NextJs. But you see this mobile view, this is what it gives you. For the mobile view you see this. But if you have a large screen you see this. You know, this was being Vessel is same, they are from same source. So it says to get started you edit the app /pages.js. If you want to start anything you want to start here, that's the file you're going to, and then you can view your docs, you can view your line, you can view your template, you can view deployment and all this. So now back to the code editor here. If you come to app, then we have what? Pages.js, sorry, and in the page.js, that's where our application started here. Before we do anything here, let us integrate the Tailwind CSS. So this is the one we are going to be using for beautifying our applications and all this. Are we there? Now, Tailwind CSS. How do you install and integrate Tailwind CSS in your NextJS application? To integrate Tailwind CSS, firstly, Tailwind CSS recommend that you go by creating the application as we have done it. This is the name of the app. This is, if you see dash is an option. You are telling the system that while I'm creating this project with the name my project, you give me TypeScript and you give me also ESLint libraries. Dash. Are we there? That's if you are introducing, you are creating, at the same time you are introducing the installations or integrations of some dependencies. For our own case, we were asked to integrate all these things and they were all integrated for us. So we don't have any issue here. So now, then CD project, you move into the project, right? Then you now install the Tailwind CSS. Also this, we were asked if you want to use Tailwind CSS. We have responded yes, so we don't need all this. But then from the documentation here, if you want to see the Tailwind.config.js, who is the owner of this one? Please go and shut it down or do something. Tailwind CSS.config.js. If you want to see the .js.config.js, then you have to run this Tailwind CSS init-p. But then for our own case, everything is handy. Look at it here. This is what we have. All these things are there. All these are there. The Tailwind.config.js is there, right? And the post CSS.config.js is also there, because we have, included it in an option where we are being asked. Then the Tailwind.config.js is there. So when you run this command, it will create it for you. It has been created for us automatically. The only thing you need to do is to check whether the Tailwind.js, Tailwind.css.config.js, whatever, is like this. So before I continue with this, let us do some touches here. This is what we have in our app/page.js, right? This is our this is what we have. So this tells you that pages. I want to open pages, right? So these pages, this is where it starts running from main, the main class, from main. So what you do is you remove from here. Can you see I've collapsed it, right? So I want to remove from here to here. and then I will remove this batch, image importation. Of course, there is going to be an error because when you return, you need to return something. This is how JS is handling classes. Export default function home. This is a method, but the class name is page.js. Are we there? So now here I want to just return something here in a div. All right. Can you see the error message? It's going. I think this is for Babel or something. Yes. If you see this kind of error, I'll correct it right now. Inshallah. This nest.babel, I'll correct it now. What you do is to come to the ESLint.js. You see this? You're going to integrate this in a given, like in an array like this. Then you introduce next. Okay. Next slash forgot what it should be there. Next comma. It's going to be two things. Sorry, if you pick this and check it online, immediately you see this, which is a common error. It's like kind of duplication or something, and there are a lot of people talking about how to, yes, it was NextJs. You can pick either this is how it was, right? It's good that I've been giving you the source. This is how it was, right? So then you now introduce NextJs, but then in an array, that means two of them should be there. It's complaining about NextJs, but this is not the only way of checking this error, but it is the simplest way. There are two ways. You can create something slash bevel, and then yes, the error is gone. Kind of something when it is optimized and something was not being upgraded. So you'll be the one to do something. This is very common in development, right? Could you see duplication or something? Please do same and then try to read through these. Actually, Stack Overflow is doing very well because thousands and thousands of developers over the world are actually accessing it and giving us feedback and all these things. Yes. So now I return. When I return, there will be no error. In here, I want to introduce maybe another div if I like. That should be my main div, and then this maybe I will introduce h1 or whatever, and then I write something. Python flags what NextJs for web development. But what do you think will happen? It will erase. Can you see? It has erased what we have here and introduced this. But I'm sure that there are things we don't want. We need to see something clear, right? Yes. So that's now part of what you have to go through the installation of Tailwind CSS for you to get rid of that. So now let's continue from here. So you go to Tailwind. It says add the path to all your template files in the Tailwind.css. All these things should be added. If you are using app, the router, we could use app router. We could use pages. So if you are using pages app, this is what we write. If you are using pages, this is what we write. But if you check for ours, everything is being written, only that this is not as it is here, so we have to make it as it is in the documentation. Sorry, Tailwind, is it Tailwind? Yeah, Tailwind, yes, tailwind.config, right? So can you see from the documentation, this is okay, but here at the team here, this extent, this is where you are going to write your own customized CSS, your own customized column, your own customized wherever. You write it there, right? Aside what they have, and then the plugins. So here, come down here. But if you look at it very well, the extent here has nothing for now. Then we have background here. You remove it. Later we can add if you want to add. So you just introduce extend here. So from here above, we don't need this gradients. All the gradients should go off. Okay, maybe I should do something like this so we can be seeing what is happening. Right, like this. So next, go back to the documentation, come down here, make sure that you do not remove anything. The comma and everything should remain, only that should be removed. This extent, you can even do something like this since nothing is there, right? You can just push it like this. Is it? And it's okay. So now next is you remove everything and leave only 3 lines in the global.css. So come to global.css. Global.css is found inside the app. Yes, if you come to app, can you see app inside it? You collapse it. This is global.css, right? So this global.css we need only how many lines? All these should go off. We don't need them for now. Only these 3 lines should remain: the base, the component, and the utilities. So once you do that, everything will be okay. Can you see? This is our page.js. So I can now start doing some things here. Oh, what's happening? Where is it? Like my system is somehow not okay. Alright. So this is it. Then, in web, how do you now beautify it? How do you do alignment? How do you do whatever? Then you go by the Tailwind CSS. It is very simple. And to do that, you need to visit the documentation of Tailwind. Tailwind documentation says look at one simple thing it has done here, even though we do more than this, I think. Can you see what they have done as an example? They try to embolden this and they try to give it bigger font, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you do same, then your page will be different with what it is. But that for now, your Tailwind has been installed. So now I can see class name. So I think it's better I expand this code so we see it clearly. Let me expand this as well. had wanted to be doing the work while we are seeing the changes. I think it will be good for us to be seeing what we are doing. So class name, okay, the video continues. Okay, let's continue. That means you are going to experience some cutoff of some minutes. So one thing, please, let's just do something. Let me embolden this. Let me just say bold. Sorry, let me do something first. Text. Let's say 2 extra large. That means it is not running. It has stopped. CLS. I'm running it again. Okay, I can just refresh since the server started. So all that you are going to be using is going to be, if you want to beautify it, it's going to be towards the Tailwind CSS. Can you see 2 extra large? If you increase it to 3, can you see? I'm increasing the what? The font size. So if I want it, I can say font dash what? Bold. If you want it on the line, just type on the line. You see, so for you to learn Tailwind CSS, you come here in the documentation. Can you see something here? Content. Oh, I'm not connected. I don't know what happened. Sorry, let me stop this video here so it doesn't become